Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today it is time to pick my May TBR, which is very exciting. I'm going to be using my Cluedo cards to help me pick again. Before I go into what I'm going to be reading this month, I need to update you on how I got on with my challenge last month. You may remember that I filmed my TBR slightly late, filmed it about a week into April, which gave me less time. And I also, for some reason, well, because I'd drawn a couple of mood cards, I thought it might be nice to draw an extra card, so I'd usually draw 4. In April, instead, I drew 5, and that was slightly a mistake. So I did finish 4 of the books that I picked, and I have made a bit of progress with the 5th one. So because I did draw an extra card, I've decided that I've read enough to satisfy the needs of the challenge. So I'm not going to be revealing my mystery card this time around. I'm going to give myself a bit of grace. Just to recap what I read. So for the dagger card, I read A Reaper at the Gates. I've had to take that back to the library yesterday, which is why I don't have it here, but I finished that one. For Colonel Mustard, I had to read a book with yellow on the cover, so I used A Memory Called Empire. It's gold, but it's close enough that it will count. For Professor Plum, it was a book with purple on the cover, so I read A Kind of Spark. See the nice purple details on that one. And then for Miss Scarlet, I had to read a book with red on the cover, and so I used Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis, which has got these nice red things. Can't think of the word. Rock formations, I guess. And then the final book was one my friend Penny picks, which is the Conservatory card, and she picked the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin for me. I have made a start on this. I didn't have time to get as far into it as I would like, so I am going to be carrying on reading this. So I've decided that because I drew an extra card, that is enough of a forfeit for me, is that I still have to finish this one, and I'm just carrying that one over as I've already started it. And I decided to give myself that little bit of flexibility because I was still working on assignments, prepping stuff to do with my research funding, that sort of thing. So I didn't want to make my life too much harder for myself. So anyway, so that is my recap for my April TBR. I'm going to shuffle the cards now, and I'm going to draw 4 cards this month for my May TBR. I'm going to preface this by saying I have a lot of books out of the library at the moment, and libraries are now reopened, meaning I have to start taking them back. So I'm going to try where possible to read library books to meet these prompts. Okay, so my first card is Lead Piping, which is contemporary. So for this, I'm going to read one of my library books, which is Moxie by Mathieu. Hold it up so you can see my face and the book. This is a young adult contemporary set in a high school where the main character, Vivian Carter, has been picking up a lot more on all the sexism that goes on in her school environment, and she finds out that her mum used to be a radical feminist in her younger years, and so she is inspired by that to start fighting back. I watched the film of this when it came out on Netflix with my housemates a couple of months ago, and I wanted to read the book, and it's just come in at the library for me. So I picked that up yesterday, so that's really exciting. That's book number 1. Second draw is The Lounge. So The Lounge is the next book I need to read to carry on a series. There's a couple that I could choose for this, and I don't know which one to go for. Okay, just in case. I'm going to go for A Beautifully Foolish Endeavour by Hank Green, which is the second book in the Carl's duology. So if I read this one, I've finished that series. I was torn between this and A Sky Beyond the Storm, which is the final book of the Ember and the Ashes series, but I'm not convinced I'm going to get to it this month because I couldn't renew it at the library, so I've only got a couple of days to try and finish it before it has to go back. So just in case I don't get time to get to that one, this one I've got a bit longer out before I have to take it back. I've been meaning to pick this up for ages, and I'm really excited to finally get to it, so that is going to be my next one to finish that series. This is going well so far. 2 books and 2 library books. Okay, so my next draw is The Spanner, which is science fiction. Oh, that was going to be my science fiction book. Oh, I know. So I'm currently taking part in a read-along of the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis, and so we've read the first 2. I finished the second one yesterday. This is the third one, That Hideous Strength, which we are reading this month. It's kind of, I mean, it is science fiction. It was written as science fiction. Some of the scientific advances we've made since then have made it feel maybe a little bit more like fantasy in some places, and I think this one is more heavy on the philosophy and theology themes that started to come out in the second one, but this will still count as a science fiction book, and it's not massively long, but it is quite dense, so it's probably going to take me most of the month to get through, but I'm going to stick that one on the official TBR as well. And then we're going to go for one more drawer, and then I'm going to go through some of the other stuff that I'm reading this month as well. Final one is Miss Scarlet. She has come up every month this year so far. So that just means I have to read a book with red on the cover, and actually one of the books that I'm partway through at the moment does have red on the cover. So I will probably finish that one for this card, but I have a few other books that I could also fit in for that if I decide to. So that is really helpful to have that one as my final drawer. Those are my Cluedo drawers. Just to go over a few other things that I'm going to be trying to read. So I didn't manage to read any review books in April, so I am going to try. I've got a couple that I'm partway through that I'm going to be finishing this month, but I'm going to try and get to a few of them. So one of the ones I didn't manage to get to was our Space Irons book club book for April, which was The Bone Shard Daughter. I really want to try and get to that this month. Our book club book for the month of May is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I'm going to try and read this. I'm not sure I'm going to be available for the live show because I might be working, but I'm going to attempt to read this one as well anyway so that I can take part in it if I am available. Obviously I'm going to be finishing the 5th season as well, so we're going to add that one back onto the pile. And then we've just picked our Space Irons book for June, which was my suggestion. We were going for books that didn't have a lot of ratings on Goodreads that we'd really enjoyed. So I suggested The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany Atazadeh. This I have read, but I'm going to try and reread it. My copy is at my parents' house, but I'm hopefully visiting them at the end of May, and so I'm going to try and pick that up, and it's a very quick read, so I'm going to try and reread it. But whether I reread that in May or June, I don't know, but I'm gonna just mention it here now. I think that's everything. I mean, I have quite a lot of books that I'm partway through at the moment on my currently reading shelf that I need to try and finish. Oh, actually, I will just mention this one. This is a book that I recently bought. A couple of people said that it goes quite well with that hideous strength. So this is The Abolition of Man by C.S. Lewis. So this is non-fiction, but it covers similar themes to that hideous strength. So I'm going to try and read this one as well. I've got this really weird, it's like A4 size, thin little book. So it's only about 40 pages, but they're like big pages. So it probably works out at closer to being like 100 normal size pages, I guess. And so I'm going to try and read that one as well. I don't think I've set myself too much of a big challenge. I am going to be trying to read The Sky Beyond the Storm this week as well, but I'm not going to officially include that on my TBR just in case. So I've got 2 of my library books on there, one for my read along anyway, and then that's my book club book. I am going to be trying to get through some more of my library books as well. May is a slightly easier month in that I do have 3 essays to write. They are due in just over 2 weeks, so I'm going to be working pretty hard for the next 2 weeks at time of filming. I'm filming this on the 2nd of May, but then after that we have a week of lectures, but we don't have to do any like extra reading or anything outside of those lectures. And then I have about 10 days off at the end of the month when I'm going to be hopefully visiting my parents if restrictions carry to lift in the way that they are at the moment before I start my summer work placement. I'm hoping in those 10 days I'm going to get a lot of reading in because, as I mentioned, quite a lot of library books out at the moment. At some point soon you'll see my April reading wrap up and you'll discover the state of my book budget, which is not great. So I need to read quite a lot to try and earn myself a bit more money for my budget because I've got some pre-orders coming in May. So I'm planning to do loads of reading, particularly towards the end of the month, hopefully getting to these ones fairly soon to get through them. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's everything. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned and what you thought of them. Let me know some of what you're planning to read this month, particularly if you're taking part in any readathons or anything like that. I've not been taking part in very many at the moment because it's hard enough to try and read the stuff that's on my general TBR, but hopefully over the summer I'll be able to do a little bit more of that. Particularly I might need to do some review ones like NetGalley, Arcathons, that kind of thing. I know some of my friends host some of them, so we'll be doing that in summer. But yeah, let me know what you're planning to read soon, or if you just want to let me know that you have been around, please leave me some kind of writing emoji to show solidarity for the fact that I have 3 essays to write in 2 weeks. You can also like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already, and you can also follow me on my social media. All that information will be listed for you in the description box below. But that's it for today, so thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!